Hello, my name is Matt Wright, and I work with the Center for Academic Technology. I'd like to talk a little bit today about finding self-help resources for some of the technology we have on campus. As of this semester, CAT has a brand new catalog of training and development events to help you learn more about technology and what you can do with it. And while I don't think it's too immodest to say that our training events are absolutely stellar in every way, sometimes you can't fit a training session into your schedule. Sometimes you might have a technology question crop up at an inopportune time. We understand, that's what this CAT Network video is about. There are two specific resources I want to acquaint you with. The first is Atomic Learning. Atomic Learning is a third-party service that provides on-demand video tutorials covering a broad range of software. Moreover, their focus is on instructional technology. The software they cover is either explicitly academically focused, like Moodle, or is presented with teaching and learning in mind. Atomic Learning covers a huge span of software and covers nearly all Butler-supported systems. If you're thinking about using technology in one of your courses, it's never a bad idea to check Atomic Learning beforehand. More likely than not, they'll have tutorials on the technology you're curious about using. Moreover, Atomic Learning has a lot of student-specific tutorials as well, so even if your students aren't too familiar with the technology you want to use, you'll be able to get them up to speed quickly. One thing to bear in mind, both for you and your students, is that since Atomic Learning is provided by a third party, you'll need to log into their service to be able to use it. Butler has set up a login page that will allow you to use Atomic Learning with Butler's license. In your web browser, go to apps.butler.edu/Atomic Learning, all one word. Just use your Butler username and password and you'll automatically be directed to Atomic Learning's higher ed page. Once you're here, you'll be presented with the search page. If you already know specifically what you're looking for, you can type it into the search bar and click search to return a list of tutorials on the subject. It may be more helpful, however, to use the filters below the search box. Perhaps the most useful one is the applications filter. This will basically narrow topics down to tutorials pertaining to a specific software application. When you open this filter, you'll notice two things. First, Atomic Learning supports a slightly crazy number of applications. It's not exhaustive. Some of the things in use on campus like Panopto, Turnitin, and Poll Everywhere are not covered. Other than those, though, nearly any technology you'd want to use in any course is covered. The second thing you'll notice is that there are different categories for different versions of given software. As a particular application changes versions, some of the interface or behavior of that application may change, so it's always a good idea to make sure that the tutorials you're watching are for the correct version. For typical computer programs, the software itself or its documentation should be able to tell you what the version is. For online Butler-supported applications, you can contact CAT or the help desk to find out which version is currently in use. For example, at the time of this recording, Butler's current version of Moodle is 2.6. The next filter is Topics. If you don't have any particular software in mind ahead of time and instead know there's a specific thing you want to do, you can use this filter to find tutorials on applications with particular purposes. This can not only help you find tutorials, but can also help suggest software that you might use for a certain purpose or project if you're not sure which you can use. Bear in mind, though, that Atomic Learning covers software above and beyond what Butler has on campus. Before getting too invested in a particular program, make sure that it's a Butler-supported system or one that's freely available for use. Finally, there's the Categories filter. This can help you pare down your results to software that's compatible with Windows PCs, Macs, or mobile devices. However, it can also be used to find unique types of videos for you. Atomic Learning's bread and butter content is how-to tutorials, but they also provide workshops on broader subjects and projects that students can follow along with. Once you have your filters set up, you'll be presented with a list of different video series. It'll also tell you how many videos there are in that series and how long the entire series runs. Clicking on a result will take you to the page for that series. Typically, for a series of sufficient size, videos will be broken down into smaller categories. This way, you don't have to view absolutely everything to make sure it's all covered. If there's a particular thing you want to know about, you can just watch the tutorials for that category. Clicking on a tutorial will open up an overlay with a video player in it. You can pause, adjust volume, full screen, all the normal things you'd do with something like YouTube. Also like YouTube, Atomic Learning videos have a playlist. When you're done viewing a video, you can click the previous and next buttons in the upper right to see other videos in the sequence. You can also view the playlist itself via the button in the upper left. Otherwise, you can hit Escape to close the video viewer. Once you've viewed a video, a green check mark will appear next to it. This way, you can tell which videos you've viewed already. Additionally, you can click the star icon to favorite a tutorial you might want to come back to later. Now, what should you do about things that atomic learning doesn't cover? Well, remember that I told you at the start that I had 2 resources I wanted to show you today. The first was atomic learning, and the second is QuickGuides. This is where you can find all of CAT's documentation for some of the biggest systems we support. At the time of this recording, we have in-depth guides for Adobe Connect, Moodle, and Panopto, and we have some basic support info for Poll Everywhere. We'll have even more guides as time goes on. QuickGuides is located at blogs.butler.edu/QuickGuides. It's probably a good idea to bookmark this site so you can come back to it if you need to. To find guides on QuickGuides, you can either use the categories or you can search. Type in a keyword in the search box and you'll be taken to a list of results pertaining to that keyword. It's probably more helpful, however, to use the categories along the top of the page. Click on the software you want to know more about, and you'll be taken to a list of subcategories about specific aspects of using that software. Say, for example, that I want to know how to use Turnitin in Moodle, but Atomic Learning doesn't cover it. I can click the Using Turnitin in Moodle subcategory and see that there are 5 guides about it. These guides are numbered and are ordered sequentially. This means that I can start with guide number 1, then go to number 2, 3, and so on to get complete coverage of that topic. Otherwise, if I know the particular thing I want to do, I can just click on that guide. The guide itself will provide some introductory info and a step-by-step walkthrough of what you're trying to do. Note over on the right that you can still see the other guides in this sequence. If you're going through each of them in order, you can use the sidebar to move from one to the other. When viewing QuickGuides, there are some special icons you might see. This eye icon will provide you with basic info about the guide. If, however, you see a light bulb icon, these will show you some ideas and best practices for using the technology the guide's describing. Finally, anywhere you see a television icon, there's a video tutorial that covers the content of that guide. Many of these video tutorials are provided by Atomic Learning. Just like before, make sure you log in first before trying to view them. You can log into Atomic Learning from the URL I told you before, these links next to the tutorials, or from this link in the sidebar. As usual, you can always contact the Center for Academic Technology to get help with instructional technology questions. But if you feel like doing some learning and exploring on your own, or you've got questions during off hours, you can always use Atomic Learning and QuickGuides to help you with your technology needs.